And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza. And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And boy, oh boy, you know, as usual, we've got a fantastic show for you today. This is a Friday, so we're winding it down. I'm looking forward to a great weekend. I hope that you are too. But first off, let me just let you know that it is currently 3:01 p.m. in the Inland Empire, and it's 96 degrees. That's down from 97 degrees. We'll give you another report in a little bit, and then we'll give you some of the temperatures on our globally syndicated network all over the world. First of all, I want you to know also that today, on today's show, we're going to talk about what's in the news, new legislation, the IRS loses, and then we'll continue our new segment, the rest of the story. That's a tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey. It's getting a lot of positive responses, and I think that's terrific. Also on today's special segment, well, we'll be with Jon Matthews, Joe Hakos, and I will be talking about the conservative politics on our semi-weekly simulcast. Certainly we'll be talking a little bit about Trump's replacement for Obamacare, if that's exactly what happens. We'll probably talk a little bit about the economy as well. And after that, we'll have our own David Garrett here. David Garrett does his segment On The Law with Garrett, and we'll talk about current events in the law. We'll probably talk about the Olympics a little bit and see what's going on there. But right now, I want to do the news for you. We've taken 10 items, encapsulated them, so you can get an idea of what's going on in the news today, so you can talk to your friends, your peers, your associates, your neighbors, whoever, and they'll know that you know what the heck's going on in today's world. First off, these are the 10 things that you need to know for Friday. Your daily look at late-breaking news, upcoming events, and the stories that are going to be talked about all day today and probably tomorrow, too, as far as that's concerned. And the first up is top Trump aide is tied to undisclosed lobbying campaign. A firm run by Trump's campaign chairman orchestrated a covert Washington lobbying operation on behalf of Ukraine's ruling political party. Emails obtained by the Associated Press show that. And authorities contradict the United States swimmer story. Brazilian police say Ryan Lochte and 3 teammates were not robbed in Rio after a night of partying, as they claimed. And Clinton sits atop polls despite emails. Faced with the choice of Trump, voters seem willing to tolerate questions about her honesty because of their distaste for the Republican nominee. And what Obama administration is acknowledging for the first time? Can you guess? Sure you can. The State Department says that a $400 million cash payment to Iran was contingent on the release of a group of American prisoners. We'll see. And summer of pain in Baton Rouge. The Louisiana city has endured the shooting death of a black man by police, the killings of 3 officers, and now a catastrophic flooding. What else can happen to the state of Louisiana? And where Uber sees its business heading? Well, I can tell you, the option to hail a free ride in a self-driving car will soon be available to users of the company's services in Pittsburgh. Can you imagine that? Hands-free. And New York City Muslims grapple with privacy issues. The daytime slaying of an imam and his friend prompt consideration of the possible benefits of increased police surveillance of the city's Muslim communities. And who's folding its media tent? Gawker.com is shutting down, brought low by the major invasion of privacy lawsuit won by Hulk Hogan. And RESPECT, respect for Aretha Franklin's childhood home. A judge says the current owner had made enough improvements to the dilapidated house where the singer was born in Memphis, Tennessee, to save it from the wrecking ball. And then finally, a judge to the ex-NFL star cannot ignore damage that you inflicted. Darren Sharper is sentenced to more than 18 years in prison for drugging women in order to rape them, double the sentence recommended by prosecutors. Well, you know what? Probably not enough. Well, you know what? Let's talk about a little bit more in-depth news and see what that gets us. You know what? Donald Trump's campaign chairman, Paul Manafort, resigned today in the wake of campaign shakeup and revelations about his work in the Ukraine. In a statement issued as he arrived in Louisiana to tour the flood-ravaged state, Trump said Manafort offered his resignation today, and the billionaire called Manafort a true professional. I'm very appreciative appreciative for his great work in helping to get us where we are today, and in particular his work guiding us through the delegate and convention process, Trump said. Manafort's resignation comes a day after the Associated Press reported that confidential emails from Manafort's firm contradicted his claims that he had never lobbied on behalf of Ukrainian political figures in the United States. Trump's son, Eric Trump, told Fox News in an interview that will air on Sunday that his father worried questions about Manafort's past were taking attention away from the billionaire's presidential bid. I think my father didn't want to be, distracted by whatever things Paul was dealing with, Eric Trump said. Well, that's enough of that. We kind of know what's going to happen. Certainly what winds up happening is people lie, and just the way it is. And how about taking heat? United States officials defend the $400 million cash payment to Iran. The Obama administration today defended its decision to make a $400 million cash delivery to Iran contingent on the release of American prisoners, saying the payment wasn't ransom because the Islamic Republic would have soon reoccupied the money one way or another. In the conference call with supporters, senior administration officials said it made no sense not to use the money as leverage to ensure that 4 U.S. citizens were freed, especially as Washington was uncertain until the very moment their plane left that Iran would live up to its word. The administration's defense came after the State Department outlined for the first time that the January 17th repayment of money from the 1970s Iranian account to buy U.S. military equipment was connected to the U.S.-Iranian prisoner exchange on the same day. Previously, President Barack Obama and other officials had denied any such linkage. You know what? Why don't people just tell us the truth? Don't you think that we deserve that? I think so. Well, here's the latest. Australia's Esposito captures the gold in the pentathlon. You know what? The latest on the 2016 Summer Olympics in Rio de Janeiro. Excuse me. Australia's Chloe Esposito has captured gold in women's pentathlon after starting the final segment fourth. Germany and Sweden were tied 0-0 at halftime of the women's soccer final at the Maracana Stadium. Both teams had a few good chances to score, but couldn't capitalize. It is the first Olympic final for both teams. It also is the first all-European final since women's soccer became an Olympic sport in 1996. Germany has won the bronze medal 3 times in Sydney, Athens, and Beijing. Sweden has never been on the podium. So, we'll see what happens. I don't know about you. I've been watching the Olympics. I get into it. There's some things I don't care so much for, and I kind of go past them. Luckily, I just record them and then zip right past the commercials and right past the things that I'm not so interested in. Hopefully, you're doing the same thing. Well, you know what? Touring flooding, Trump moves ahead with a campaign turnaround, and I'm going to tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Do not go away. Got a lot more interesting news and a lot more fantastic show for you.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Leinberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:12 p.m. Pacific time. It is still 96 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down from 97 on its way to 66 degrees. That's the one I want to see it hit. But right now we're talking about the news, so let's get right to it. Touring the flooding. Trump moves ahead with the campaign turnaround, offering consolation, expressing regret, cutting ties with controversial aid. Donald Trump's campaign turnaround plan today featured the unorthodox candidate acting much like a conventional politician struggling to receive a presidential bid on the ropes. Trump headed to flood-damaged Louisiana to express solidarity with residents cleaning up after devastating flooding that left at least 13 people dead. The trip that made for a pointed contrast to President Barack Obama and Democratic nominee Hillary Clinton, who both have yet to go, although Obama announced late Friday that he too would visit next week. The typically brash and spotlight-seeking billionaire offered notably restrained remarks as he surveyed the waterlogged wreckage. Nobody understands how bad it is, Trump told reporters after briefly helping unload a truck of supplies while cameras captured the moment. It's really incredible, so I'm just here to help. Yet, the trip did little to obscure the turmoil in Trump's campaign, punctuated early today when Trump announced that he'd accepted campaign chairman Paul Manafort's offer to resign. Well, it's probably a good thing for his... Well, I mean, what else could happen to Manafort, for Pete's sake? I'm not sure there is anything else that you can do for that. It's just crazy kind of stuff, right? Yeah, I think so. You know what? Let's see here. Oh, you know what? Here's the latest. Britain wins an upset for the women's field hockey goal. Let's see if we can't talk about some things that are a little more pleasant, for Pete's sake, right? The latest on the 2016 Summer Olympics in Rio de Janeiro. Britain stunned the top-ranked Netherlands in a shootout to win its first ever gold medal in women's field hockey. The Netherlands was trying to become the very first nation to win 3 consecutive gold medals on the women's side for Friday night. The score was tied 3-3 at the end of the regulation, during which the Netherlands outshot Britain 17-7. Britain's Helen Richardson-Walsh scored a penalty stroke in the shootout. Then Holly Webb scored the winner. Britain goalie Maddie Hitch did not allow a goal in the shootout. That's a good thing. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see here. You know what? Well, here's one. Let's talk about this. Syria's very first responders, the most dangerous job in the world, if you think about it. It took Mohammed Fadlallah and a team of 7 rescue workers 30 minutes to reach the middle-aged couple trapped beneath the rubble of their apartment building in the congested Syrian city of Aleppo. They had been notified a rocket had struck the building, and they had to wait for the debris to fall and the dust to settle. We called out. We are the civil defense. Is anyone able to hear us? Fadlallah said of the rescue operation earlier this summer, they were on the first floor with 4 floors above them, but they were protected by the ceiling, which had collapsed at a slant. It was routine work for the 3,000-strong Syrian civil defense, which mounts search and rescue operations under the unforgiving atmosphere of war in the shattered country's opposition areas, and whose supporters have nominated its first responders for the 2016 Nobel Peace Prize. Well, you know what? I could probably support that if you think about it. Let's see here. You know what? Officials are actually saying that, what the heck's going on with my computer here? Here we go. The Zika is found in South Beach. Spraying is not practical. South Beach has been identified as a second site of Zika transmission by mosquitoes in the United States mainland, and containing it there will be difficult because high-rise buildings and strong winds make it impractical to spray the neighborhood from the air, officials said today. 5 cases of Zika have been connected to mosquitoes in Miami Beach, bringing the state's caseload to 36 infections not related to travel outside the United States. Florida's governor and health department announced that just today. The discovery prompted the United States Centers for Disease Control and Prevention to announce that it was expanding its travel warning for pregnant women to include an area in Miami Beach known for nightclubs, pedestrian thoroughfares, and beaches. This Zika virus, I don't know what you're thinking about it, but it's certainly not getting any better, and that's for doggone sure. Well, 2 New Jersey commuter buses collide, killing 2 and injuring 17. 2 commuter buses slammed into each other in downtown Newark today, killing a veteran driver and a passenger and injuring 17 other people, including several critically, authorities said. A New Jersey Transit bus just starting its route and carrying no passengers slammed into the side of another New Jersey Transit bus carrying about 20 passengers at around 6 a.m. at a downtown intersection. Joseph Bartholos, the driver of the bus carrying no passengers, was killed. He had worked for New Jersey Transit for 27 years, the agency said. A female passenger on the other bus died later this afternoon, said Catherine Carter, a spokeswoman for the Essex County Prosecutor's Office. This is a tragic day for New Jersey Transit, Interim Executive Director Dennis Martin said. Our organization is in mourning today. Well, I would think so, right? I don't know what else you would do. Well, you know what? Here's one for you, and we'll leave it with this. A man is charged in the auto parts shop owner's beating decapitation. A 62-year-old man has been arrested and charged with murder and the beating and decapitation of a Houston auto parts shop owner. A police statement say Raymond Jackson was arrested today in the death of 58-year-old Inayatola Corsand at his shop in southern Houston. Homicide detectives say passersby reported shortly after 9 p.m. Thursday that Corsand's decapitated body was found lying on the floor of his shop. Investigators determined that Jackson was a regular visitor to the shop. No motive for the killing has actually been determined. Now, do not go away. We're going to take one more short break. When we come back, we're going to tell you all about the IRS losing. That ought to make your day, right? First case up here is the IRS missed an audit deadline. I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Don't go away, folks.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? a professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, General Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:23 p.m. Pacific time. It is currently 96 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. That's down from 97 on its way to 65. But if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in New York City, well, it's 85 degrees and it's clear and it's sunny. And if you're in Chicago, Illinois, it's 84 degrees with some scattered clouds. But right now, let's talk about the IRS loses.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Oh yeah, you know what? I love this part of the show mainly because it just sets the hair up in the back of my neck and chills up and down my spine. Nobody wants to hear about the IRS winning anything, right? Well, here's the first case. The IRS lost. They missed an audit deadline. A company declared Chapter 11 bankruptcy but continued operating. It then filed a later year return, making a Section 505B request under the bankruptcy code. Now, this required the IRS to select the return for audit within 60 days or accept it as being accurate. Instead, after the 60 days had passed, the IRS said that $7 million more was due on it. The IRS says that the 505B request was invalid because published IRS rules required it to be sent to the IRS district director, not to be filed with the return. So that was the court to get some satisfaction. This is what the judge said. The IRS's argument was absurd, as it had earlier abolished the position of district director. So filing the request with the return was the correct action, and the tax is lifted. Now, do you remember how much I said? $7 million. Yeah, Mr. IRS. Here's the case the IRS conceded, and you've heard me say it many, many times. They only concede when they're pretty sure that they cannot prevail in a court of law. So that's what this is one of those kind of cases. And this is the case where a bank deposits that need not be reported as cash payments. We're talking about that anything over $7,000 deal. You know, businesses are required to report all cash payments larger than $10,000 to the IRS on Form 8300. Now, that's report of cash payments over $10,000 received in a trade or business. Now, there's a recent case here. A car dealer sold cars using independent contractor salespeople. After a sale was made, the salespeople would deposit the sales proceeds in the dealer's bank account. Now, the IRS's legal opinion of this, the receipt of the bank deposit is not a receipt of cash, since the dealer never literally received cash in hand. The reporting requirement didn't apply. Kind of a thin thread, but you can see where that's going. Here's another case the IRS lost. They cannot sue to collect tax already subject to a refund suit. Here's the story. A company failed to remit payroll taxes, and the IRS imposed personal liability for those taxes on its owners. They paid a portion of the tax, then properly sued for a refund, contesting their liability, filing their suit in Kentucky where they lived. The IRS then filed a separate suit in Louisiana where the company operated to enforce collection of the assessed tax. The owners protested, went to court. This is what the judge said. When a tax liability is being contested in a refund suit in one court, the IRS cannot file a collection action for the same tax in another court. The Louisiana suit is dismissed. And that's the way you would expect it to be. Now, you've heard me say it many, many times. Wouldn't you like to be a fly on the wall when the IRS is doing things and making decisions? That's where we're at right now with this segment that we call Inside the IRS. It's just a little bit like the Twilight Zone. Okay, so these are not tax court cases, but these are decisions and things that the IRS has done that have been made public that you can actually use to your own advantage if you know about them, right? Now, here's one thing for you, and that's the pitfall in making a deal with the IRS. You know, the IRS and the taxpayer are generally bound by the terms of an agreement that they reach to resolve tax controversies. Now, this includes offers in compromise and qualified settlement agreements. The downside to this, though, is what if you make an offer to settle that the IRS accepts and then discover that you failed to take advantage of a net operating loss carryover or a reduction that you were entitled to? Unless the IRS agrees to amend the terms of the contract, and that's not going to happen, I can tell you, you're just out of luck. Absolutely. How about this one? How about contingent fees in the IRS? Ever think about that? Well, the IRS will generally take the position that the entire legal award received by a taxpayer must be considered part of the taxpayer's gross income, and the contingency fee paid to the attorney be classified as an itemized deduction. Now, there's a problem with it. Let me tell you about it. The value of the itemized deduction for legal fees may be reduced or eliminated after consideration of the alternative minimum tax. Accordingly, you wind up paying tax on the entire recovery, even though perhaps a third of it was paid to your attorney. Now, some states have come to the rescue here. Taxpayers living in Alabama, Michigan, and Texas are not required to include recovered attorney fees in their gross income. And based on litigation in the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, taxpayers who live in Louisiana and Mississippi also do not have to include recovery fees in their gross income. The Supreme Court's currently reviewing this case, and it may set a national standard, which, you know what, obviously it does need to do. Well, let me give you one more, and that is when you owe money to the IRS and borrow the money from a bank, well, a corporate officer who enters into a loan agreement that provides that the bank must approve, let me get rid of that. There we go. That the bank must approve all expenditures, including the payment of payroll taxes, does not receive himself or herself or a responsible person status. He is still personally liable for the company's willful failure to pay the trust fund withholding and Social Security taxes. The requirement to pay federal payroll taxes supersedes the contractual restriction imposed by a bank. Now, do not go away. When we come back, we're going to be talking to Jon Matthews and Joe Hakos on our bi-weekly syndicated program. They'll be calling in just a few minutes. We're going to be talking about Trump's health care plan, and hopefully you'll find that interesting. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from the basement of his strategic planning room located at his political hideaway in Los Angeles County, the dedicated man who stands and serves the political conscience of our nation, Mr. Jon Matthews.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics, where at 3:34 p.m. Pacific time, it's still 96 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. If you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in Paris, France, well, right now it's 64 degrees and mostly cloudy. And if you're in Rome, Italy, it's 72 degrees and clear. Well, you know what? We're waiting for John and Joe to call in. We're about ready to do our simulcast. They should be calling in about 20 seconds. seconds or so. And I'm pretty sure we're going to be talking about Donald Trump. There's a lot to talk about Donald Trump. And of course, Manafort, as we mentioned earlier in the show today, resigned today. It's probably a good thing for Trump. I just kind of wonder, when he's got less than 90 days left before the election, is it too late for him to really do anything and make a turnaround? I don't know. And one thing's for sure, he's given it a try. It seems like a whole new, different kind of Donald Trump that's sitting out there right now. But we're also going to talk about his proposal to replace Obamacare. To me, it looks like it's really a good one. I would actually support it. Obamacare is not working the way most people think it should work, and I think this other plan actually looks like it's a better plan all the way around. So we'll talk to John and Joe about that when they call in. They should be calling in just about any second now. I'm not sure what the hang-up is. Sometimes, we go to a commercial break late, or they go to a commercial break late. Here they are. They're trying to call in. I don't see it. I don't see them. I don't see it ringing. I don't know what's going on here. They should be calling in here any second. I don't know why it hasn't come in. So let's see what's happening here. Let's give this a shot. See if we can get this.
You're supposed to, Bob. You there?
Yeah, we're here. We're with Jon Matthews and Joe Hakos. For some reason, your call wasn't coming through, so I decided to place it the other way around.
Oh, okay. Well, you just saw I had called and you opened up here. Hey, I wanted to get into this thing. You sent me an article earlier in the week on Trump's 7-point healthcare reform plan, and I wanted to give you the opportunity to explain to our listeners what it's about, because with all the really important stuff like busted jocks down in Rio de Janeiro and Malaya Obama getting caught smoking joints, all the really important stuff. This stuff gets kind of pushed off on the back burner.
Yeah, isn't it amazing how this is something, I was just actually really, really excited about this, John, and hopefully you were too. And I know that there's one part that you don't agree with, but the truth is this is a very, very good, comprehensive plan that he's come up with. If Congress would let him implement it, it certainly justifies getting rid of Obamacare, which is simply not working for anybody. And this is what it is. It's not 7 items. It's actually 5 essential things that you need to know about this healthcare plan. The first one is they need to eliminate the individual mandate or bring back the freedom to be uninsured if you choose to. If people can't afford to buy insurance, taxpayers will cover that emergency only if it's an emergency care. If people need more than that, well, they're just out of luck. It's emergency kind of stuff. The second thing is we need to allow health insurance sales across state lines and medicines from other countries. And this way people can buy cheap medicine from another country to get a bargain care in some other state or country. I hear that you can get some really good deals in medications from India, stuff like that, Canada, that kind of thing. And there's no reason that we should be restricted from that kind of stuff.
Yeah. The only reason we can think of is that there are a lot of corporations, special interest types, that are making money by doing that. But that's never a viable reason within the minds of the average American.
Well, you know what we ought to do? Let me give the 5 things, and then let's go back and pick at them, if that would be okay, John.
Go for it.
So the third item here is tax breaks. This makes all the sense in the world. Allow people to deduct premiums on their income tax returns. The problem is, if you're rich enough to itemize your deductions, this tax break is for you, but not so much for everybody else, because only about 30% of the nation, actually it's a little bit less than that, the people that make over $75,000 a year, people that have itemized deductions that exceed 2% of their adjusted gross income, they can't itemize. The truth is that there should be a spot on your 1040 for your insurance premiums to be deductible on that front page, regardless of itemizing. And number 4, we should get some more tax breaks here. That's to make health savings accounts tax-free and shared by the entire family, and be an inheritable financial asset. So this way, higher income people can afford to save, and their kids will get a tax break keeping the money all in the family. And what about regular folks who can't afford to save? Well, again, it's just tough luck, right? But you want to be able to use a savings account. It's not that you're going to not be taken care of in an emergency. You go to the emergency room, and every taxpayer in the nation winds up helping you. But it's got to be an emergency. But if you are an affluent person and you can afford to put money aside, it ought to be tax deductible for you. You ought to be able to use it in these health savings accounts. It's a good thing. And then finally, consumer protection. That's to require price transparency from doctors and hospitals so consumers can shop for health care. So if you're sick or severely injured in a car crash, we can compare prices to get the cheapest deal and say and whether that be surgery or medications or whatever it might be. So this is really, really a good plan if you think about it. Does it solve everybody's needs? Probably not, John. For those people that want socialized medicine, that want something for nothing, that aren't willing to do something to help themselves, probably not going to help them. But it does help you if it's an emergency and it's a life or death thing. That's the thing. I think it's a good program.
Yeah, it is. In line with that, there's a couple of things here. The big thing with me, Joe, why don't you go ahead first? I know you wanted to say something. You go first.
I got some questions here, Bob. You're saying, a lot of individuals have the healthcare savings account, the HSAs, and make those so they could go with the estate just in case the member passes away. Right. Does that also mean they're going to get rid of the death tax then?
Yeah. Yeah, but that was a whole separate issue. But Donald Trump wants to get rid of the death tax, or the estate tax, whatever they want to do, and so that would pass on tax free to any of your beneficiaries.
Oh, that's so anti-Clinton.
Well, excuse me, but have I been very pro-Clinton?
I'm saying because having anything left over to give to your heirs is just un-American, according to Clinton.
Well, yeah, but doesn't this just make sense? If what we really care about is the health and well-being of every citizen or every occupant or legal occupant of our country, this makes sense. If you don't want to help yourself, then you know what? You get the flu, you get the cold, you get something, then you're just out of luck. But if you're in an emergency, you're taken care of. And if you have the ability to save toward this, you can pick your own insurance company, and you can buy it over the state lines, which means that these guys are going to get competitive. It's going to give you rock bottom premiums.
Oh, that just sounds like utopia, Bob. But now Hillary Clinton thinks that those items should be left to the government, and the government should be able to go ahead and doil that out because only the government can do it best.
Well, yeah, but Hillary Clinton just looks at what her husband did, and he came out of office, and they earned $150 million, and she's saying, well, now when I go into office, I want to earn my $150 million. She's not caring about what the rest of us are doing. She's not caring about the economy. She's caring about her economy.
And I really love the part where we can buy insurance across state lines. Yeah. We were saying that since before Obamacare came into being. That was one of the things to allow it to happen was portability, must have portability. And finally, with this proposal, it'd be nice to see it. But will it be implemented? Boy, there's only one way for it to get implemented, Bob. And how is that?
Well, we got to change who's residing in the White House and get somebody who's in the legislature to be cooperative.
Oh my goodness, that sounds like almost you have to elect Donald Trump.
Yeah, and clean house in Congress too. You got to do that also.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You know what? How much damage could he really do? I think there's a chance that he could do a lot more good than he does damage. I don't know that the last 8 years have been so progressive, and to get 4 more just like those doesn't make an awful lot of sense to me. I'd like to try anything different that might help us.
I heard it said today that if the ham sandwich was running against Hillary Clinton, I'd vote for the ham sandwich.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
I heard it. The last election cycle was milk toast. Okay, we will elect milk toast. But Joe brought up earlier something that Donald Trump said today in his speech up in Michigan. He said, "What do you guys got to lose by electing me?"
Yeah. Everything.
He said, "What the hell do you have to lose?"
It's just astounding. You saw the news? You saw the news yesterday, or I think it came out. It broke yesterday that the Clintons, in all of their benevolence, have decided that if Hillary wins the White House, that they'll no longer take foreign money in the foundation, in the Clinton Initiative Foundation, and Bill Clinton will resign from being the chairman. If she wins the White House, that's sort of like blackmail, isn't it?
Yeah. What they'll do is they'll start funneling it through the Obama Foundation.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's the important part about all of that, what they just said?
Yeah.
She was taking that money while she was Secretary of State.
Yes.
It's another apology. Oh, gee, I'm sorry I got caught.
So explain to me this. I do not understand it. Why isn't that getting the press it should be getting? I mean, and also, why isn't Donald Trump just all over this thing? Why does he let some of these things slide?
I don't know, but we'll think about that. We'll talk about it when we get back here. We got to go to a quick break here. We'll be back. We've got Bob Cardoza.
And we'll be right back after these brief messages.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. Well, we're in the middle of our simulcast with Jon Matthews and Joe Hakos. We'll be with them again just shortly, but I want you to know that at 3:47 p.m. Pacific time, still 96 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. If you're listening to us in London, England, it is 83 and clear. In Vienna, Austria, it's also 83 and clear. Man, that's great weather if you think about it. We'll be with John and Joe any second. They should be calling me in, and we'll be getting to them just about any second whatsoever. So let's just wait for it to happen, I guess is what we got to say. Yeah, we'll just wait for it to happen. So. And let's see here. Matter of fact, should be happening any time now. They should be. There we go. Let's see. I think they want to, and should be any second. Matter of fact, what I might do is just go ahead and give them a buzz and see if they're ready.
Along with Joe Hakos, and we've got Bob Cardoza back on the line with us. Okay, Bob, let's pick up where you left off at.
Okay. Well, you know what? Basically, I was just I'm so ticked off at being lied at, and I don't understand why Donald Trump is not taking advantage of all of this stuff that's going on, all the proof that's going on, all of the graph that's going on the Clinton side. And it's sort of like he's oblivious to it. I don't understand.
Well, I'll tell you what. I've been thinking about that. I've been thinking about that for the last couple of weeks. This $400 million ransom from Iran, I couldn't understand why he was not all over that.
Yeah.
And I really think it might have been because of the people that were running his campaign, and I think that's why he shook it up. I was listening to the new campaign manager, the CEO, I don't remember her name.
Kellyanne.
Yeah, and she was just basically saying that he was not feeling comfortable in his skin. So I think he was probably being sequestered to some degree, and finally just said, you know what, I didn't get this far doing it this way.
Yeah. Well, if I might interject, gentlemen, he did mention that in his speech in Michigan today.
Yeah, and like I said, he's starting to open up now. I think he kind of had to cut the shackles from the people that were running his campaign and just say, maybe he was spending too much time debating and arguing about what he should be saying and the way he should be saying it.
Yeah, Manafort resigned this morning, and I think maybe that's what Trump was waiting for, is to get rid of that issue so that it didn't come back and bite him. And that could be what's going on.
I caught some of Mark Belling this morning. He was sitting in for Rush Limbaugh, and he was talking about what he believed that Trump is actually writing his own speeches per se. He doesn't really have somebody sitting down saying, I'm going to say this or say this or say that. And I think, when Trump sets his mind to it, because I can't believe him sitting in meetings with people, multi-billion-dollar investors and stuff, and looking at people going, you know what, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
I just don't see that happening. And, maybe in the political arena, it's a little more appropriate because there are so many idiots. Okay? But, when Trump gets down to it, when he starts articulating his thoughts and saying step one, step two, I love the way he's presenting empirical evidence down the line here. This is what we've got, guys. This is where it came from. And then I think he should change his mantra from let's make America great again to what the hell do you have to lose? I think that's great.
Oh yeah, it absolutely is. If you listen to Fox News and you listen to some of the people that know Donald Trump personally and have known him for years, they're saying that the Donald Trump that's using this, I forget what they call this speech system that they're using, like the portable thing.
Yeah.
They're saying that that's the Donald Trump that they know. The one that you hear that's ad-libbing, that is so brash and so caustic, they don't even recognize that guy. That's not the same guy that they've done business with, not the same guy they socialize with. That the one that we're seeing now that has this written down speeches that stays to the speech, that's the Donald Trump they know.
Well, I'm thinking, I'm hoping that what he does here, because people are starting to notice that Hillary is pretty much absent from the campaign trail. She steps out of her walker, away from her walker once in a while, and she gets out there and gives a speech or a rally or something. But even when she's at the rally, the people that are going with her, Tim Kaine or Joe Biden, people like this that are traveling with her, they're carrying the bulk of the load, and she's not even showing up. She's not, they're saying that she's down to like 1 or 2 events a week, and the rest of the time, I think that was Trump was alluding to the other day when he said, "Oh, she doesn't sleep." And I think I really think, I didn't think about this before, but I think there's a real issue with this woman's health to some degree.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it's a bump in the head or anything else. I mean, we all know she's bat crap crazy, so that's not something that we really have to really surmise or evaluate. But I think she has been in politics for a long time, and whether you're good at it or not, and she's good at politics. I mean, this woman's been lying for 50 years. You know how much adrenaline and energy it takes to lie?
Oh, you know what? With all due respect, and forgetting about Hillary or Trump or anybody, with what they're doing, when you're running for president and you're in 3 or 4 different cities every day or 5 cities, and you're making an hour-long speech and you're meeting people and pumping hands and doing all that stuff, it is absolutely exhausting. And you're going between time zones and you're not sleeping right. You know what? These people are not young people anymore, and it is going to take its toll. But I think if you look at Donald Trump, if you look at him now, for some reason, it looks like somebody gave him a spa treatment or something. He's looking pretty good.
Well, I say there's a difference between doing something that you love and that you're good at and doing something that you're doing because you don't know anything else.
Yeah.
And Donald Trump obviously loves what he's doing. So when, I think about it, I think about the years I spent in the workforce and how some days were just so tedious, and it was like everything I could do to get through the day, and like Friday was Resurrection Day, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and yes, exactly.
Yeah, and so now I sit here and I think about radio, and I don't have that problem at all. I mean, if I could, I'd probably be drained at the end of the day, but I'd go 5 hours on the air if I could every single day, because I love doing it. Yeah. But I have been out on the campaign trail just at a local level. when Deborah Pauly was running for supervisor out here, I'm sorry, not supervisor, for the state assembly, I attended some of her events, and I was exhausted just attending them. And I'm sitting there going, and she's like, well, I went to a speech this morning, I got a breakfast after that, and now I'm here, and then I got to go here afterwards. And I'm like, my God, no, this is why I won't run for office. This thing would kill me.
Yeah. And unfortunately, that's what you have to do.
Yeah. And so, I'm entertaining the thought. This is my thought here. Hillary Clinton gets elected, and she ends up going off into the old ladies' home, and we end up with Tim Kaine as president.
Oh, my God. Oh, Jesus. Bite your tongue.
Yeah, what's wrong with you, Don?
But, did you just fall off your chair and hit your head or something?
Oh, no, I'm just saying, I mean, would that really be any worse?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. At least we get the sociopathic, psychopathic liar out of there.
But all you'd ever hear is the harmonica.
Yeah, and we'd have to, I guess what we'd have to do is change all of our government publications into Espanol.
Yes. Well, the good part about that is that we wouldn't have to pay any attention because we couldn't understand them anyway.
I did out here, just to give you a real quick little thread here, just off topic a little bit. I was going to run for city council out here in Norwalk. Mm-hmm. And I thought, my idea was to just see if I could go in and rock the boat, because this is a Democratic stronghold out here. I mean, the people out here, Linda Sanchez, Grace Napolitano, people like this, they don't even have to run for re-election. Nobody runs against them. And I thought, I'll go into city council, and I'm just going to see if I can rock the boat.
You'd give them a heart attack, John.
Yeah, well, anyway, I went down, to find out how to do it and everything, and they told me that you have to have your, the blurb that you put in the voter's guide and everything, mm-hmm. that has to be translated into 6 different languages, and it's $600 a pop. You have to pay $600 a pop to have your blurb translated into 6 different languages. So I'm like, well, geez, that's like $2,400 just to get your blurb.
I'd be like, hey, man, I only want the ones that can speak and read English anyway. So there.
Well, first of all, that's $3,600. That's bad math on your part. And second, that doesn't make any sense at all.
No, and then when you throw in the filing fees and everything else you got to do, you got to have almost $10,000 just to walk in and put your name on the ballot. So I'm sitting there thinking, okay, well, I looked around, I went down City Hall, and I checked the hallways, the pictures of who's in office. And Norwalk is set up like Huntington Beach. The mayor is chosen from the city council. It's not you don't vote for mayor out here. Yeah. Vote for city council, and they pick the mayor. And I'm thinking, okay, we got 4 Hispanics and 2 white women. I've got like a snowflake's chance in hell. I
can see the tar and feathers for you already, John.
If I'm going to spend $10,000, it's going to be buying a Mac tower. That's what I'm
thinking. Yeah, I heard that.
Made in China now. It's made in China.
Yeah.
Anyway, Bob, we're coming up to the end of our time here, and I want to give you an opportunity here to plug your show.
All right, please. You know what, folks? I love being on the simulcast with John and Joe, but you can listen to my show every Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific time. And better yet, because we don't want you to have to choose between our shows, get my app. It's absolutely free. Go to your app store, search Robert Cardoza Live, and download it. You can get it for any kind of computer or any kind of phone, anything you got. And it's absolutely free. Then you can listen to me at your leisure or live if that's what you choose to do. Again, go to your app store, search Robert Cardoza Live, or go to my website at robertcardozalive.com. Hey, guys, have a wonderful weekend, and we'll talk to you on Monday.
All right. God bless. Take care, my man.
All right. And for the rest of you folks, do not go away, because when we come back from this commercial break, we're going to be with our own David Garrett on the law. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from the bowels of the Hall of Justice, our own legal guru, David Garrett, attorney at law.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:01 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 96 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, that's down from 97, and it's on its way to 64, which is a good thing. Hey, it just dropped to 94. That's a good thing. And if you're listening to us on our syndicated global network and you're in Madrid, Spain, well, it's 84 degrees and it's clear. And if you're in Tokyo, Japan, it's 75 degrees and it's some rain showers. But I'll tell you where it's not raining anywhere near our legal guru, David Garrett. Hey, David, you're on the line.
Yeah, how you doing today, Bob?
I'm doing terrific. I want to know, are you all set to go fishing tomorrow?
I'm trying to get there. I am having trouble finding a boat to take me out tomorrow, so maybe I'll get that far.
Well, wait a minute. You know, you can go to Dick's Sporting Goods and get one of those little rubber dinghies.
I was thinking about that.
Hey, you know, I wanted to ask you a question, and it's kind of off the wall, and if you don't know, you don't know, because I don't really expect you to know. But this thing about Lodkey in the Olympics, him and his buddies that vandalized this gas station there, and they got detained. Well, Lodkey didn't get detained, but the other guys did, and now they're paying these fines and all this stuff going on. Lodkey actually got out of there before they were able to detain him and pull him off a plane, and obviously these guys vandalized that service station. If now that he's in the United States, can they actually touch him? Can he be forced to do anything?
It would for him to be handled by Brazilian law. He'd have to be extradited from here back to Brazil, and
not much chance of that, I'm guessing. Not for that.
No.
Yeah. You know, it was the stupidest thing. You think about a guy that won the gold medals. He was going to become a multimillionaire. He had his whole life all set in front of him. He's 31 years old, for God's sakes. And then he pulls a stunt like that, and he lost all of his endorsements. He's lost all of that stuff. What on earth could have been going through his mind?
Boy, I don't know. The only thing I can think of is he had to have been pickled by alcohol when all this came up.
Yeah, and that's what they're saying. These guys went out and got plastered. It's just, you would think that, first of all, they're ambassadors of the United States. What a sad set of affairs. And then they do that. You think, wait till you get home in your privacy of your own home, and then go ahead and pickle your brain if you want to. But you should be smarter than that, for gosh sakes.
Yeah, it's just, it's kind of crazy. That whole thing brings up kind of a real interesting things in the law that we have something kind of similar here, and Brazil has a little different flavor on it, but, I guess what they're talking about is this idiot went out and what did he do? Beat up a sign or something, or
he ripped
trashed a bathroom?
Yeah, he ripped a sign off the side of the wall, urinated, in some plants or something, whatever. I don't know what the heck that does, or on the bathroom floor. I'm not sure. And then they did some destruction inside the bathroom. Supposedly, the lie was that they got stopped by a policeman in a taxi cab, but the truth is that's not what happened. The security guard came up and aimed a gun at him and said, "You're not leaving until you pay for the damage that you've done here." So they got, I don't know, it was $20 or some menial amount of money. And they created all this controversy going on. And it turns out that they were actually guilty of all this vandalism. The judge who got the other three guys, one guy was fined, I think, in U.S. dollars, $10 or $11,000 U.S. dollars. And that's probably what would happen to all of them that was going on. But it was all stupid, and they lied to start with. I don't know how they thought they were going to get away with a lie, but that just didn't work. With all the cameras and stuff going out, you can't go anywhere in this world today without some camera seeing you.
Oh yeah, it was just crazy. But the stuff I've read, and actually let's kind of divide this and pretend it happened here in the United States.
Okay.
Let's pretend he, instead of doing it down there, he went and tore a sign up here and peed on the wall or whatever, but, did his. And so our cops come out, in most areas here, probably the most you would get is a ticket for vandalism, misdemeanor vandalism for tearing up the sign. Pretty similar laws here. If he'd lied to the cops and come up with this great big old story about everything, it'd be false reporting to the officer, and that could be an additional charge here. So down there, apparently, Brazil has a law that says when you're charged with one of these things, it would be the equivalent of a misdemeanor, which in essence is the lying to the cops. You can make a contribution to charity in lieu of being prosecuted. And that's what at least one or two of the swimmers did. That's the $10,000 or $11,000 you see happening. But so let's bring this thing now back up here to the United States. There's a provision in most states have this, if not all, that's called a civil compromise. And let's say you'd only had the vandalism charge. So this gets before the judge, and sooner or later the individual with the sign and the defendant get together, and they come up to agreement that, hey, you were an idiot, you tore up the sign, but if you just pay me, I don't really want to see you in jail, kind of deal. And the defendant says okay and pays the guy off. That can actually be a civil compromise here in the United States, and would, with the court's permission, would stop the charge of vandalism. And they'd never get prosecuted. The defendant has to come into court and say, yeah, I've been made whole, and if the court agrees, then a civil compromise is put in place, and the criminal charges are dismissed.
And my guess is the same thing would have happened there if these guys hadn't made this gigantic deal of this and defamed everybody.
Yeah. Well, the civil compromise there seems to happen a little bit easier. The cops come out and say, hey, pay for this, and they paid for it, and there's your civil compromise. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I say that somewhat tongue-in-cheek. But up here, a civil compromise wouldn't solve the problem of false reporting. Because, there's no victim to pay off.
Yeah, but that was the big mistake they made, was lying about it. Okay, so they went out, they got drunk, and they weren't in their right minds, and so they were celebrities, big deal, and they got caught. The best thing they should have done is says, gosh, you know what, we've had too much to drink, I'm really sorry, I will pay for the damages that I've done, what else can I do? And it would have been all over, it would have been done, and nobody would have known anything about it.
Oh, you bet. Yeah, it was where they, like you said, they did the lie to the police, and then they're not happy with that. Even after they're sober, they decide to get on TV and tell the same story. And, sometimes you just can't cure stupidity, right?
Yeah, if you really think that the city of Rio or even the country of Brazil, who is looking to get good public relations out of the Olympics, that they're going to let this go on without investigating it, or if you really think the press of any kind, and it was our press that really did the investigation, that they're not going to go out there, that they're not smart enough to realize that there's cameras everywhere, that they're going to investigate this and find out the truth. These guys are not working on a full six pack here.
Oh yeah. I don't know. It's a very sad state of affairs, and Brazil had enough problems without made up stories coming along. And candidly, my impression, I watched a lot of Olympics. So far, it seems to me they've done a pretty good job.
Yeah, I mean, you really haven't heard of anything other than this instance here. You haven't heard about anything, and everybody was expecting some horrible things to take place, and it hasn't. And knock on wood, it hasn't happened as yet. And let's hope that it doesn't happen. But then for them to manufacture this, oh come on, man.
Yeah. I did see one occasion where in somebody's apartment, if you turn the faucet on, the shower came on. I find that more hilarious than anything else.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, that's a movie.
And as I hear about that, I kind of have in the back of my mind the picture of some disgruntled plumber out there saying, "Now, what can I do?" Yeah. Absolutely. It just boggles my mind how anybody can be so stupid, Yeah. So anyway, what else? I don't think that's what you had planned to talk about. But I find it interesting. You're really well versed in it, and what you say is absolutely right. It should never. I think you agree that it should never have even gotten to this level. It should have just kind of disappeared. Yeah, 100%. The civil compromise idea, I think, is something that's kind of interesting to talk about, just because it's a way of avoiding, in the United States, minor problems. Mm-hmm. If you simply go out and do the right thing, it's kind of, like heralding back to the days before everything in the world became a criminal offense.
Yeah.
I guess you got a knucklehead kid, and we've all had those, or we've been knucklehead kids or something like that.
This guy was 31 years old.
I'm off walking now. I can't solve that guy's problem.
Yeah.
Teach him how to behave. But
yeah.
For your teenage kid that goes out and thinks, hey, it's going to be cute if I paint my name on the neighbor's wall or something like that.
Yeah.
This civil compromise can, in a lot of situations, solve a problem that, really, it's criminal conduct, but if we make the victim whole, do we really need to, go around and put people in jail or something like that. There's only so much trash you can pick up along the freeway too, but
yeah.
So I just,
I hear you. I wanted to kind of take this in another direction. Another question that I have, and that is that, we hear Hillary Clinton demeaning and defacing Trump, and we hear Trump doing the same thing to Clinton and to Obama, and we have all this stuff going on. And are there going to be a 30 or 40 defamation lawsuits going on? Are these people exempted from that? Can they just lie anytime they want? Because they're lying to you and me too.
I don't think we'll see any defamation lawsuits. I think probably what we ought to do is society go buy a bunch of courts and go back there and put it in a few people's mouths. We wouldn't have to listen to this nonsense.
Yeah, I mean everybody's lying to us. Everybody.
Yeah.
I used to tell a joke about you can always tell when a politician was lying, their lips were moving.
Oh, you bet.
Yeah, you know what? And it just seems like I'm not even sure why I'm watching all this stuff anymore. I'm so sick of being lied to. Why can't you just tell me the truth? Just tell me the truth. Yeah. I'm not stupid. I can make up my own mind. But one thing I certainly am not interested in doing, I'm not interested in voting for a liar or a thief or a crook. Or any of those things. Not that I think you need to be an angel. I want you to be able to be street smart. But come on, stop lying to me, will you?
Well, yeah, that's my feeling exactly. And you remember that old decision that the Supreme Court came up with on Obamacare?
Yes.
Where, in essence, they concluded it was possible to implement it through the tax code.
Right.
And I'm not criticizing our Supreme Court in any fashion on this decision. It's, I think legally, they probably came up with a well-reasoned decision. The difficulty I had there is we just spent the years before that listening to how it wasn't a tax.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I would have been much happier with a decision from the Supreme Court that said, if you tell the public this is what it is, or that it's not this, we're not going to make it into something you said it was.
Well, you know what? And that's a really valid point to make, David. At some point, I thought, from a legal standpoint, judges could only hear you on the merit of what you present. And if it was presented as a non-tax, how did Chief Justice Roberts decide to apply it as a tax?
Well, I think what they did is presented it to the public as a non-tax when in fact it was a tax.
Yeah.
I just think they misrepresented what it was.
Yeah.
And, my point is
but shouldn't the justices have said, if you're presenting this to us as though it is a non-tax, then we're going to find it unconstitutional? Does the justice have the requirement to say you're actually presenting it wrong? This is the way it is, and this is and that's why I'm finding it this way?
No, I think they're stuck with what's actually in the legislation that was passed, and I just don't like that. That kind of principle.
Yeah.
It's kind of like if you had an apple and an orange, you put the apple behind a box and run and tell everybody on the outside it's an orange, when in fact it's an apple back there. You ought to be held to that apple behind the box being what it is. You say it's something else, well, you said it was an orange, or you said it was an apple. I get my fruits mixed up here. Whatever you said it was, we don't care if you're hiding what the true intent is. You're going to be held to what you said it was.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I'm thinking that they should have done. It just, and now all of a sudden, I mean, we've got to be concerned about, who is going to be, president, because they're going to probably, nominate the next 3 Supreme Court judges. And it just seems to me like, it really should not make any difference. If they're making decisions based on the Constitution, on the legality of the Constitution, then they all should have the same set of mind, and it shouldn't make any difference whether they're a Republican or a Democrat, an independent, a purple people eater. They should be making that decision based on their knowledge of the law and not their political persuasion.
And I agree 100% there. I mean, my personal feeling is that we've gone from a society that had a constitution that said this is our rules, and we're going to follow these rules, into a situation where now the effort is, well, we know these are the rules, so how can we bend these rules just enough to get by whatever we want to pass through?
Yeah.
And I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't either. So, David, hold on to that thought. We'll talk some more about this when we come back from this break. We'll be right back with David Garrett on the law in just about 3 minutes. Don't go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Dental Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay a great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:23 p.m. Pacific time. It's still 94 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. That's down from 97 on its way to 66 degrees. If you're listening to us on our syndicated global network and you're in Sydney, Australia, it's 55 degrees and clear. And if you're in Auckland, New Zealand, it's 55 degrees and overcast. But you know what? Over the offices of our own David Garrett, it is clear as a bell. Hey, Dave, you've got the microphone. We were talking about Supreme Court justices and the injustice of how our legislators are actually manipulating the justices.
Yeah, it was that whole thing there. And I was just thinking as we talked about this, we've just been through the primaries to determine who our nominees are going to be. Mm-hmm. And you remember all the circus going on through that.
Oh, yeah.
And it kind of gives a brief example of how we get to where we are now. To me, a fundamental right and fundamental dictate of the Constitution is this old concept of one man, one vote.
Yeah.
As we're going through the primary process, it didn't matter which side you were on, because both of them did it.
Yeah.
Republican, Democrat, all of a sudden find out we're going to vote, but instead of voting for who we want the candidate to be, actually what we're doing is making a vote, and then we're going to send delegates out. And then we find out, we got these things called superdelegates that I think can do whatever they want to do. Or we also find out in certain situations the delegates aren't even forced to follow the dictates of the people they're representing, and they can just go down and vote any way they want to.
Yeah.
I don't know how we start off with such a fundamentally flawed system and then expect it to change after these people get elected.
Well, you know what? Just as bad as that, because nothing more horrible than that. Because I can remember when this used to be a government of, for, and by the people. I don't know whatever happened to that. And I can remember when we used to elect the president. I think now the media actually elects the president, not the people. And every platform from all the parties have their own rules to decide who's going to be presented to us as acceptable. The truth is that 70% of the people in this country find both candidates that are running for president unacceptable, and they're going to force us to vote for one of them.
Yeah. I mean, this is just. I'm not looking forward to November because you don't really know what the heck to do.
Yeah, I'm caught between a rock and a hard place, and the thing is that neither one of these people deserve to be in the White House.
Yeah. And that's been kind of my opinion.
Yeah.
We need to start over. Different candidates out there.
Yeah, this is just. I wish that there was some kind of a system for that. I wish something would happen, but unfortunately, no matter what happens, I think we're going to be disappointed.
Yeah. And getting back to the constitutional argument. I am all for, if you got a law that currently is unconstitutional and society as a whole thinks this idea, whatever the law is a good idea, well, as opposed to bending what we got and trying to make it fit, why don't we just put a requirement out there? We're going to uphold the Constitution. If we need to change the Constitution, we'll do an amendment to the Constitution, then the law can go through.
Yeah.
Then us ordinary people will know exactly what we're getting ourselves into and have to agree to it. That seems to be the way it ought to work. But
yeah, I mean, it seems like, it just seems like it should be so simple. Why did they make it so difficult? It just doesn't make sense. I understand not making it easy to change the Constitution. You don't really want it to be easy, because then your rights are, it's like your rights have been written on rice paper, right? And we don't want that. We don't want that to be the case. We don't want it to make it easy. I understand that, but the truth is, it's just like prohibition. We needed to have a amendment to our Constitution for that? That's the stupidest thing I ever heard of. In 1 minute you can drink and it's okay. The next minute you can't drink. At 1 minute you can drink, you can have pot. The next minute you can't. What the heck is going on here? This is not a constitutional issue. This is something that the majority of people should make a decision. It doesn't have to be that doggone hard.
No, it doesn't at all. At all. I think there's some very broad scope powers that have gotten to be found that government has through, in my opinion, bending constitutional theory. And once it gets bent, now we've got the government with these powers. And my personal belief is that the people should have had a decision. Yeah, we're going to give our government this power, and if we do so, it needs to be by constitutional amendment,
yes,
not by strained construction.
Yes, you are absolutely right. The problem is that the federal government has become so big and so all-powerful, and the legislators that we voted in have become the good old boy network. We can't even get rid of them anymore, that we're not being represented well in Washington, D.C., and the government's too big. The government is supposed to exist to protect the citizenry, not all the rest of this baloney that's going on. The individual states are supposed to take care of everything else. And if you don't like what's available to you in one state, move to another one.
Yeah. I was watching on TV today. Let's see. That may have been sometime this week. And apparently I read I'll tell you. It was some article about how bad the roads are in L.A. County. Mm-hmm. And it was like 65-70% of these roads are just, they put them in way poor, I think is the word, way below standard. So the solution that is being bandied about is, okay, well, let's put some sort of proposition on someplace. Now we'll pay additional money so that the roads are actually fixed. The thing that disturbed me with all that is we go through society. We've had government. Well, I think making roads is a purpose of government. Why don't they use the money they got to fix roads instead of running around sending our elected officials all over the... Absolutely.
The gas tax in all the states, not only the federal tax, but the state tax for the gases, it's gigantic. There's plenty of money there to take care of infrastructure. I can remember when we had a very modern, wonderful highway system, and California used to have the best roads in the country. Now, nowhere are there any good roads.
Yeah, that was the show. They had all these guys they're interviewing. They're driving down a road, and the road's so bad they lose the front end of the car from some hole in the road.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, government. This is your job. Fix it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly right. That's the job of government, to take care of all this infrastructure. That's the job of government. They need to get out of our bedrooms and out of our back pockets and out of our lives, and remember that we are a free society here, at least in the United States, and these people are making you start to feel oppressed.
Yes. Yeah, we're going to live our lives in freedom as long as the freedom's doing what we're told to do or living how they want us to live.
Yeah. And the problem is they are the 535 legislators that we put into Washington, D.C., and we continue to put them there in spite of the fact that they're not even doing their job. They no sooner get elected, they get to Washington, D.C., and they're told they have to devote 40 hours a week to raising funds for re-election.
Yeah.
What about spending 40 hours a week doing what we elected you to do, that we're paying you to do?
Yeah. And instead we run into those situations where the national parks are shut down because the two sides can't sit there and figure out how to make it work.
And that's another dumb thing. Both sides want the same thing. They just totally disagree on whose idea they're going to use, because one side doesn't want the other side to get the credit. I remember, I forget who it was that had said it, but somebody was really famous, obviously not famous enough because I don't remember who it was, that said that if you want to get anything done in this world, anything, then you got to just not care who gets the credit.
Yeah, I believe that.
Yeah.
My solution might have been to lock them in their little Capitol building there with a key and said, you guys get to come out when you finish the job.
Yeah, and you don't get a paycheck until it's done.
Yeah. I don't know, Bob. There's some screwed up things in society nowadays.
Yeah, and you hear all these junkets that these congressmen and senators are going on. They're going all over the world. They're being wined and dined and all these things going on the taxpayers' dollars. And we have, I can't remember a time. I'm 71 years old. I don't remember a time when we were not at war.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and why does the mayor of L.A. need to travel all over the world?
Yeah.
I mean, or, I happen to pick on him because he's the one that pops up here. But,
yeah.
Or we buy a $4 or $5 million yacht, put it down in L.A. Harbor, so some harbor master can go out and show people stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? This is ridiculous. You talk about the imprudence of the way elected officials handle our money. It's just it's ridiculous. It's crazy.
Yeah. I wish I knew a way to put a stop to it.
Yeah, the only way you can do it is at the ballot box. The problem is people are so complacent they think that their vote doesn't matter. And the other problem is, I think the media is running everything. The media convinces you that so and so is going to win or so and so is going to win, and people are forgetting about you need to vote for what's best for you as an individual, what's best for you as a community, and not what the media tells you to do.
Yeah.
And everybody wants to vote for a winner. So the media says, well, John Smith is going to win. So you go to the ballot box and you don't want to vote for a loser, do you? So you'll vote for John Smith. Yeah.
And that's largely dictated by who gives the most funds to the media.
Yep. Absolutely. It just drives me nuts. Hey, John, or David, we've got 50 seconds before we have to say goodbye. Give some contact information out for your firm.
The number is 909-945-5000, and we can be reached on the web at www.lawbbg.com. And
the other thing is that you need to, the minute you hang up, you need to get on a robocall calling everybody down at the pier to find out what boat is going to be available for you. You can't have people treat you this way. You've got to be able to get on a boat.
Oh, I know. I'm ready to go here.
All right, my friend. You sound great. Have a great weekend. Stay safe and stay happy and keep everybody around you glad that they are, will you?
I'll do it. You have a great weekend, Bob.
All right. Thank you. We'll talk to you next week. The rest of you folks, stick around. Don't go away. When we come back from this commercial break, we're going to talk about the birthdays for the day, the secret daily teaching for your life, the Harvard business tip of the day, and interesting but useless facts. And then after that, we're going to do the tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. And the story today is we're going to make you a star. I'll tell you all about it right after these brief messages. Don't go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics, where at 4:40 p.m. Pacific time, it's still 94 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, it's down from 97, which is pretty decent compared to what it was the rest of the week, and it's gone its way to 65 degrees, which is going to be really nice. And if you're listening to us on our syndicated global network and you happen to be in Hong Kong, well, it's 77 degrees and partly cloudy. And if you're in Lisbon, Portugal, it's 66 degrees and partly cloudy. If you've never been to Lisbon, it is just an absolutely magnificent, beautiful, beautiful city. But right now, let's talk about the Harvard business tip of the day. And the tip today is, before a difficult conversation, take the other person's perspective. Yeah, you heard me right. When you need to talk through a difficult issue with a coworker, it's tempting to just get it over with. But don't start the conversation until you've taken the time to see the situation from their perspective. Try to get a sense of what your colleague might be thinking. They have a rationale for the way that they've been behaving. So what might that reason be? Imagine you're in their shoes. Ask yourself questions like, what would I do if I were them? Also, ask yourself what your colleague is trying to achieve. You'll need a sense of what their goal is if you want to help them achieve it. Identify places where you too see eye to eye on the issues. Now, this common ground is going to give you a foundation to problem solve jointly and will make the conversation go much more smoothly, guaranteed. And that's the way you want it to do. It's got to be a team effort, guys. Absolutely. Well, you know what? It's time for our secret daily teaching for your life. And you know that this is all about a positive mental attitude. You really do decide how your life is going to go, whether you're going to be happy, sad, rich, poor, a failure, or a success, whether your people around you are going to like you or not. You really are going to decide all those things. You do it every morning. When you wake up in the morning and you look in the mirror, you need to look up and say, man, this is going to be a fantastic day. It's going to be profitable. It's going to be productive. It's going to be wonderful. I just can't hardly wait to get out there. And just keep that thought all day long. And you know what? It's exactly what will happen. Now, the teaching for today it comes from W. Clement Stone, who was born in 1902, and he passed away in 2002. He says, whatever the mind can conceive, it can achieve. That is what a positive mental attitude is really, really all about. Well, you know what today is. Everybody does. I certainly do. It's somebody's birthday. It's Friday, August the 19th. Let's find out who it is. To apologize. We got the wrong sound effect that was going out there for you, but we got that all taken care of and fixed. Thank goodness for that. So that's a good thing. But you know what? Let's talk about the birthdays for today. Here's a fellow born 1913, died in 2003, a fitness personality, most famously through a line of aerobic videos and television programs. Who could forget Sweating to the Oldies with Richard Simmons. Happy birthday, Richard. And here's a gentleman that you probably all know. We've been talking about him a lot lately. Born in 1946, served as the 42nd President of the United States. He and Tipper share the same birthday. Wonder if they celebrated together. I doubt it. We're talking about Tipper Gore, by the way. Happy birthday, Bill Clinton. And in 1948, a former Second Lady of the United States and the wife of Al Gore. And like I said, happy birthday, Tipper Gore. Yeah. Well, what do you think happened today in history? Well, you don't have to worry too much about it because I'm going to tell you. Here's the thing. Today in history, on August the 19th, 1692, Salem witch trials took place in Salem, Massachusetts, province of Massachusetts Bay. 5 people, 1 woman, and 4 men, including a clergyman, are executed after being convicted of witchcraft. And on this day in 1934, the first All-American Soapbox Derbies held in Dayton, Ohio. And then finally, on August 19th, 1990, Leonard Bernstein conducts his final concert, ending with Ludwig van Beethoven's Symphony No. 7. Yeah. And you know what? Our quote for today comes from Christopher Morley. And Chris says, "Life is a foreign language. All men mispronounce it." Yeah, you know what? That's probably an understated fact. All men probably do mispronounce it. That's the sad thing that's happening around here these days. Anyway, you know what? Let's talk about interesting but useless facts. Did you know that some types of hawk moth caterpillars retract their head when alarmed, and which gives their thickened end sections the appearance of being a snake's head? Yeah. Wow, isn't that something? Did you know that jellyfish look a little like umbrellas? Yeah, they do. Of course you knew that. They can be dangerous, though. Be really careful. Really dangerous. How about this? A donkey can sink into quicksand, but a mule cannot. I have no idea why. I'm just giving you the information. Try this one on for size. The Guinness Book of Records holds the record for being the book most often stolen from a public library. Yeah. And did you know that Louis XV was the first person to use an elevator? In 1743, his flying chair carried him between the floors of the Versailles Palace. Wow. Yeah, I don't know if you've ever seen the Palace of Versailles. My wife and I were lucky enough to be there a couple of times, and it's just absolutely just magnificent, unbelievable. You know, you can't hardly imagine the lifestyle that these people actually led. Did you know that at birth, a panda is smaller than a mouse and weighs about 4 ounces? Now, that doesn't sound like much, but think about how big they grow to be. This is pretty phenomenal. Just think about it. Really, really pretty phenomenal. Now, did you know that stage bows were originally devised as a way for actors to thank the audience? The audience would or would not acknowledge each of the actors in turn, depending on how much they enjoyed the performances. And it was the actors thanking the audience for that, as opposed to the other way around. Did you know that in the 1980s, an IBM computer wasn't considered 100% compatible unless it could run Microsoft flight simulators? We're talking about the program. Yeah, absolutely. Try this one on for size. Opera stars Nellie Melba and Louisa Tetrazzini are famous for more than just singing. They are also known for food that has been named after them. Nellie Melba? Well, Peach Melba and Melba toast. And Louisa Tetrazzini? Yeah, you got it. Chicken Tetrazzini. Well, did you know that the average number of peanuts in a box of Cracker Jacks is 27? Seems odd. You don't see much Cracker Jacks anymore. Everybody's getting in the way of it. Well, let me leave you with this one. A recent Gallup survey showed that in the United States, 8% of kissers kept their eyes open, but more than 20% confessed to an occasional peek. 41% said that they experienced their first serious smooch when they were age 13, 14, or 15, and 36% between the ages of 16 and 21. The most memorable kiss in a motion picture was in Gone with the Wind, according to 25% of those polled. Yeah. Now, don't go away. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to do our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. Today's story is, we're going to make you a star. So don't go away, folks. We'll be right back after these brief messages.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, General Family Dentistry and a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 888-866-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:53 p.m. Pacific time. Still 94 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. If you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you happen to be in Wichita, Kansas, well, it's 78 degrees and mostly cloudy. That's going to be great for our own Sean LaFave. And if you're in Torrance, California, it's 73 degrees and partly cloudy, which is good weather for our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman. But right now, I want to tell you about the rest of the story. So let's get to it. You know what? We're going to talk to you all about Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. He's the biggest, best voice in America. He reveals the startling heartbeats and behind the headlines. Paul Harvey is one of America's favorite radio and TV commentators, heard in over 775 ABC radio stations, in over 400 foreign stations, seen on 110 television stations, and read in 300 newspapers. Recipient of numerous awards and honors, including 9 honorary degrees. He's on the Gallup polls list of America's most admired men. So let's get to Paul's story about We're Going to Make You a Star. You know, the path from anonymity to stardom is almost always under construction. Sometimes it's a dead end. Sometimes it's deceptively paved with fool's gold. Still, if the yellow brick road were a superhighway, there'd be more of us on the screen than in the theater, and that just couldn't be. The movie business is gutted with 10-year overnight successes. Actors and actresses who've paid their dues by haunting the casting lines for bit parts and cheap productions while part-timing as store clerks and waitresses. Then a small break, and a larger one, and a larger one until the shock wave hits and the name nobody knew is suddenly scripted in neon. This is the story of George, for whom it happened in reverse. In and out of trouble as a boy, there seemed to be no direction in his life. George, the young man, had no thoughts of becoming an actor, but the producers who discovered him recognized a natural talent. Somewhere buried beneath all the toughness, there was a freewheeling style, a beguiling nonchalance that attracted people to him. This, decided the box office barons, would make him a star. George's first film was completed in record time. Only a few days covered the entire shooting. Everyone on the set was convinced, and the elated producers saw the character that they had counted on come to life. It was a dream for a newcomer. Remember, George had never acted before, but his supporters had faith. So much, in fact, that he received $25,000 for his first job in the industry. When young George got the check, what do you think he did? No, he didn't lose it all to slow horses and fast women, but neither did he put it in the bank. You see, those 5 figures on that little slip of paper symbolized his first success as an actor. Proudly, repeatedly, he displayed the check to all of his friends and anyone else who might be impressed along the way. Carried it with him wherever he went. Months passed. For George and his check, the honeymoon had come to an end. By the time he finally got it to the bank, much had happened. The motion picture, already released, had failed. The producers were bankrupt. The check bounced. All George had to show for his hour of glory was an ego as deflated as his pockets. If the failure of his screen career was easier to take than you'd think, it was because he'd had his heart set on another from the very beginning. The silent film producers who spotted George had him pegged as a star, and they were right. But it would take many years, many failures, and another professional to prove it. George would act again in a successful film, but only after he'd made a fabulous name for himself elsewhere. In that circuitous route to stardom, he could bring to the screen his own character and all the characteristics his fans had come to love. George never shook the toughness of youth, and that rugged, blunt-faced determination is summed up in a nickname the world knows well. If companion meteors have since flared out and burned to cosmic dust, this star still shines and always will. George Herman Ruth. Babe. And now you know the rest of the story. Babe Ruth. Can you imagine? Jeez. An actor? Can you imagine that? Oh, my gosh. Well, you know what? I'm going to encourage you to go out and get my app. Just go to your local app store, online, whether it be Windows or Android or whatever it might be, or iPhone. And just search Robert Cardoza Live. The app's absolutely free, and download it, and you'll be able to listen to our show anytime at your own convenience. If we're broadcasting live, you can hear it live. If not, you can hear it at your own convenience. There's a little icon that tells you what that day's show is all about. You can then listen to it anywhere, worldwide, anytime, whatever you want to do. Tell all your friends about that too. I'd appreciate it. They'd appreciate it. And you know what? You're going to wind up appreciating it as well.
That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.